everyone. This is Stephanie Thomas
And I'm Mary Thomas.
of Thomas and Thomas PC, also known as the Sales Tax Sisters. Thank you so much for clicking on the video and looking at the website. If you want to hear more about sales and use tax, just make sure you subscribe if you like what you're hearing.
And thank you for everyone who subscribed.
Yes. Today we're going to talk about sales and use tax and when you're actually confused about the taxability treatment of things and the best way for you to get unconfused about it. Now, my idea is your first line of defense, if you're confused, is to go to your Department of Revenue or your Controller's Office resources. One of those resources is actually calling them up and asking your question, but there can be an issue with that.
And I don't necessarily like calling them up without having done initial research. The thing about calling up any taxing authority is now people don't stand behind what you may be told on the phone, and you may not be able to trust what you've been told on the phone, because basically you're relying on one person's thoughts as it relates to taxability. If you are going to call someone because you are concerned about is this taxable or not, before you call anybody, go up on their website, look at their policy statements, look at their code. If you put in the question on their website, these state websites are pretty sophisticated now. They can pull in a policy statement. I'm sometimes surprised at how spot on the policy statements are, because someone has already asked that question.
That's true 9 times out of 10, but whether or not you get a good response is pretty much contingent upon whether or not that Controller's Office or Department of Revenue's website is actually good. Some are better than others.
Yeah, and the thing about calling people is that what I do when I call people, because yes, I still do call people, I will have done my research first and have an idea as to what I think the answer is. And regardless of what that person may tell me, I will say, where is that in the code? What policy statement is that?
And that's the big thing, because just like Mary just said, if you call up a Controller's Office employee and ask your question about taxability, even if you have the day, the time, and the name of who you spoke to, if you get audited and you say, listen, I called up this day, I spoke to John at this time, they told me it wasn't taxable, you can't hang your hat on that. An auditor will say, well, I'm sorry you misinterpreted what he said, but you didn't treat this appropriately, so I'm going to tax it. So it's important that even though you get verbal information, a verbal answer, that you actually have a code reference or a policy reference. You need something in writing in order to hang your hat on.
And if it's really material, there are some states that give binding letter rulings.
And you can always request that.
Yeah, they're binding private letter rulings, and there are procedures for that you can go through, and you can actually get something that is binding on that taxing authority. Barring all of that, you can actually hire a professional to go in and look at that. The thing about that is that professional should be giving you a taxability assessment along with the research, meaning that you see the code, you see the policy statement. Make sure that if you're doing this on your own, that you go in and, in legal terms to say, shepherdize it, but make sure it's still good law. Yeah. Make sure that it is still an accurate reflection of the current policy of that taxing authority, or it was the policy when your transaction took place.
That's exactly it. So the big takeaway here is when you're researching the taxability treatment, make sure that you have something in writing that you can hang your hat on, and not just someone's opinion. You want the tax code, policy statement, letter ruling, something in writing, so that if you're ever audited, you have something you can hang your hat on.
And make sure that it is issued by the taxing authority. I had one person that was in the middle of an audit where they were telling me, well, this is the policy, and they sent me something that an independent third party gave them that they presented to the auditor, and the auditor rejected it. It was not a statement of policy from the taxing authority. It was a non-binding opinion by a third-party purveyor of information. So what you have to do is just make sure that, especially if it's something that is material, that you really dig deep and you get to the base root of this taxing authority's policy. Stephanie says controller because, of course, we're in Texas. But this is evergreen information. This goes for every taxing authority or jurisdiction that you're in. You've got to dig down to the policy of the actual taxing authority so that you know what's going on.
That's true. So is there anything else you want to say about this?
No, that's it.
All right. Well, thanks so much for clicking. And if you have any questions, please let us know. If you have any topics that you're interested in, we're listening. And hopefully we'll see you soon. Bye.